from Mr. Morton's Barmy Book of Bonkers Bits.
Hello, I'm Mr. Morton, and welcome to Mr. Morton's Barmy Book of Bonkers Bits. Say, have you ever heard the story about the Three Billy Goats Gruff? No? Well, you see, everyone knows the story of the Three Billy Goats Gruff. 3 goats, 1 bridge, 1 troll, a lot of trip-trapping. And so by the end of it, the troll had been tossed aside, the bridge was theirs, and everything ought to have settled down nicely. But it did not. Because once you've defeated a troll under a bridge in a dramatic and very public way, people remember. Word spread. Before long, the whole valley knew about the Three Billy Goats Gruff. For a while, the 3 goats enjoyed being known as Gruff. It suited them. Gruff sounded solid. Gruff sounded heroic. Gruff sounded like a goat who would not put up with nonsense from anyone. Then, one afternoon, Big Billy was standing by the river admiring himself. He looked at his reflection and he frowned. "Hey, Gruff is good," he said. Middle Billy, who was standing nearby angling one horn towards the light, nodded. "Yeah, very good. Strong, textured, a serious word." Little Billy, who was trying to look brave and mysterious on a flat rock, nodded too. "Yeah, terrific word. But you know what's better than gruff? I'm thinking buff." Middle Billy stopped adjusting his horn, and Little Billy slid off the rock. "Buff," said Middle Billy. "As in sculpted." "As in massive," said Big Billy. "As in look at me and lose confidence." Little Billy gasped. "Hey, the Three Billy Goats Gruff." "Hey, now you're talking." And that was that. From that day on, the Three Billy Goats Gruff became known as the Three Billy Goats Gruff. They didn't discuss it with anybody. They simply announced it by changing all their social media handles and announcing it on the internet. Then, just to make the point, they started posting pictures of themselves online. Big Billy flexing on a rock. Middle Billy turning his head so one horn caught the light just right. Little Billy tossing his beard and staring moodily into the distance. They posted captions like, "Stay strong," "Eat grass," "Fear nothing," "Born to trip trap," and, for reasons nobody could explain, "Monday mindset." Of course, no one actually knew what Monday mindset meant, least of all the goats, but everybody loved it. And then the comments came. First of all, most were fine. Absolute legends. Bridge icons. Need the beard routine, please. You know, that sort of thing. Then one day, under a picture of Big Billy standing on a tree stump, trying to look thunderous, somebody wrote, "Mostly fluff, TBH." Big Billy stared at it. "Yo, what's that supposed to mean?" Little Billy squinted. "I think it means respectfully that they are hating." "On me?" said Big Billy. "Oh, that's a bold choice." Under a picture of Middle Billy, looking sideways, with one hoof lifted for no clear reason, somebody wrote, "Those horns are doing a lot." Middle Billy went rigid. "My horns do exactly enough. In fact, they show restraint." And then, under a photograph of Little Billy lying on a flat stone with his beard spread out around him, somebody wrote, "Looks like a hairy footstool." "A footstool? Hey, buddy, what does that even mean?" The goats huddled together in horror. It was a troll. Not a bridge troll. They had dealt with that. This was worse. An internet troll. And he was everywhere. On every post, under every picture. Waiting, lurking, commenting. The Three Billy Goats Gruff were outraged. And wounded. And furious. And because they were goats, and therefore perfectly capable of making the wrong decision with complete confidence, they decided the answer was obvious. They needed to become even more buff. "Hey, bigger," said Big Billy. "Way bigger." "Sharper," said Middle Billy. "Cleaner, more impossible to criticize." "More iconic," said Little Billy. "More impossible to scroll past." And because goats eat almost anything, if nobody stops them, they decided to invent a protein shake. The first shake was unpleasant. Grass, oats, cabbage, peanut butter, and a banana with the skin still on, because Billy said skin was where the grit lived. The mixture was churned in an old bucket with a stick. Big Billy grabbed the bucket. "Hey, I know it stinks. That's how you know it works." They all drank it. Big Billy first, then Middle Billy, then Little Billy, who had to shut one eye and think about followers. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then suddenly, Big Billy's left shoulder swelled up like rising bread. Middle Billy's neck thickened until he looked as though he'd been assembled in a hurry. And Little Billy's beard suddenly doubled in size and burst out round his face like a startled hedgehog. They all stared at one another. Big Billy flexed. "Yo, you see this? You cannot teach this." Middle Billy turned sideways. "My silhouette has changed completely." And Little Billy shook out his beard and briefly vanished inside it. "Take a picture," he shouted from somewhere in the middle. "No, wait, from this side." Almost immediately after they were posted, the trolls started commenting. The goats were furious. Big Billy drank another bucket, and the second shake was even worse. Turnip, broccoli stalks, eggshells, pond water, and something chewy found behind the shed that no one could identify. And so they drank it. And Big Billy's chest ballooned, but his back leg stayed the same. So he looked, from some angles, like a wardrobe on stilts. And Middle Billy's horns twisted into such elaborate curls that he had to turn his whole body to get through narrow spaces. Little Billy's front legs became so thick and shiny that he kept posing with them and forgetting where he was going. And their voices changed too, deeper. That afternoon, they posted 6 new pictures and one very serious video beside the river. Big Billy spoke first. "You want power? Start by being honest about what you're working with." Middle Billy lifted his chin. "And stop letting your face do all that." Little Billy pointed at the water. "Reflection check, boys! Reflection check!" But the troll replied, "You all look damp." And that one really hurt, because it was true. By now, the goats were spending more and more time down by the river, partly because the light was better, and partly because the river gave them a full reflection, but mostly because they'd started to believe that if they just got one more picture right, one more pose right, one more muscle right, the troll would finally shut up. However, the troll did not shut up. So they made a third shake. Onion peel, fish food, a sock for toughness, and a torn packet of something called Troll Teen found wedged under the bridge. In it went, all of it, and they drank, all 3 at once. Big Billy's right foreleg grew twice the size of the left, and his cheek puffed up, and his backside became, for no useful reason, absolutely tremendous. He twisted round to look at it. "I'm not thrilled with the placement." Middle Billy's horns sprang into huge spiraling loops, one nearly hooking his own ear. He looked at his reflection and gasped, "I look magnificent, but difficult." Little Billy's beard exploded in every direction. "This is too much beard! I got way too much beard! No, wait, maybe this is my brand." And it got worse after that. Not just their bodies, but them. A duck wandered past, and Big Billy barked, "Hey, keep it moving, we're shooting here!" A hedgehog tried to cross the bridge, and Middle Billy said, "Absolutely not! You ruined the symmetry!" And a mole popped up in the wrong patch of ground during a live stream, and Little Billy shouted, "Hey, buddy, we're live! What are you doing here?" Soon, they were under the bridge all the time. Not just crossing it, but living there, guarding it, grumbling in the damp, arguing about lighting and shoulder dominance and whether Little Billy's beard now counted as a separate animal. But the troll kept trolling. By now, the goats were no longer offended. They were obsessed. Then came the live stream. The big one. Their grand return. Little Billy set the shot. "Okay, we're live in 3, 2, 1. Give me moody. Give me dangerous. Give me bridge royalty." Big Billy planted his huge front legs and flexed. "You want greatness?" he boomed. "Start with posture." Middle Billy lifted his chin 3/4 of an inch. "And stop letting your face do all that." Little Billy threw himself between them and grinned wildly. "Drop a hoof in the comments if you're ready to become impossible to ignore." And that was when they heard it. From above. Trip, trap, trap. The three Billy Goats Buff froze. Their ears twitched. Their swollen muscles puffed. And their faces, which had by now become distinctly trollish, turned upwards. All three of them leapt out from under the bridge and roared, "Who's that trip-trapping across our bridge?" There was silence. There, on the bridge, was a chicken. Small, scruffy, completely vacant. The chicken blinked. The goats loomed. The goats snarled. The goats flexed their bulging muscles. And the chicken thought nothing of it, because this wasn't the cleverest chicken in the world. But then the chicken noticed something on Billy's enormous arm. A smear of peanut butter. The chicken stepped forward. Peck. Big Billy's great swollen muscle sagged instantly, as if all the air was let out of it. He looked down in horror as his entire side softened and drooped like a tired sofa cushion. "My arm! Hey, you can't do that! That was premium bulk!" The chicken tilted its head and noticed seeds caught in Middle Billy's enormous twisted horn. Peck. Middle Billy began to deflate. One shoulder first, then the other, then his neck slowly shrunk to the width of a broomstick. He stared at his reflection in Rising Planet. "I'm evening out! I'm evening out!" The chicken took 2 more steps and found crumbs buried deep in Little Billy's ridiculous beard. Peck, peck, peck. Little Billy's front legs softened. "Do not film this! Nobody clip this!" And then all three began to shrivel. Every swollen muscle, every puffed-up lump, every ounce of inflated nonsense leaking out of them at once. And then, with 3 final wheezing squeaks, the 3 Billy Goats Buff lifted off gently off the ground and floated away. Up they went, over the river, over the hill, and over the very bridge where it all began, drifting away like old balloons full of warm, windy nonsense. The chicken watched them go, then forgot about them immediately, and pecked the bridge. And that's the story about the 3 Billy Goats Buff. Now listen, I don't want to be a goat or anything, but it'd be great if you came and subscribed to my channel so I can carry on with more and more stories with you. And make sure you check out MrMortonsBalmyBook.com, where you can see all my other stories. Thanks for coming along. I've been Mr. Morton, and you've been listening. Bye!
Thanks for joining Mr. Morton in his brilliantly balmy bonkers book. Spread the word to your wonderfully wacky friends. Like this episode, leave a comment, and subscribe for more silly stories. Or visit MrMortonsBalmyBook.com. And remember, the world needs more magic.